Assalamualaikum and hello, Dr. Marina and my fellow friends. Today, I am NURUL HASYIMAH binti MOHAMAD HASNI will talk about transmission of nerve impulse. My talk will be in 3 parts. The first part is resting potential, the second part is action potential, and the third part is propagation of action potentials. First of all, what is nerve impulse? Nerve impulse is theoretically defined as movement of unequally distributed ions on either side of external membrane, which is the plasma membrane of an axon. Later, A.L. Hodgkin and A.F. Huxley confirmed this theory. How did they do it? Well, they and the other researchers inserted a tiny electrode into the giant axon of a squid. The electrode was attached to a voltmeter and an oscilloscope. An electrical potential difference across the membrane is called membrane potential. Here is how it will look like. The first part of my talk is about resting potential. Resting potential is when an axon is not conducting an impulse. The oscilloscope records a membrane potential equal to -70 millivolts. This indicates that the inside of the neuron is more negative than the outside of the membrane. The existence of this polarity is due to the difference of electrical charge on either side of external membrane. This is because the concentration of sodium ions outside the membrane is higher than the concentration of potassium ion inside the membrane. The plasma membrane is more permeable to potassium ions, so this gradient is less and potassium potential is less. The second part is action potential. Action potential is a rapid change in polarity across a portion of external membrane as the nerve impulse occurs. Protein line channels in the external membrane will open to allow either sodium or potassium to pass through. These are sodium and potassium gated ion channels. There are 2 phases in the action potential. The first phase is depolarization phase. The second phase is repolarization phase. The depolarization phase indicates that the cytoplasm is now more positive than the tissue fluid. The oscilloscope will go from -70 millivolts to the positive 35 millivolts. While the repolarization phase indicates that the inside of the axon is negative again. The oscilloscope will return to the -70 millivolts from the positive 35 millivolts. The sodium potassium pump maintains this unequal distribution of sodium ions and potassium ions. The sodium potassium pump is an active transport. This pump moves 3 sodium ions out of the axon while moves 2 potassium ions into the axon. The pump is always working because the membrane is permeable to these ions and they tend to diffuse towards the lesser concentration. Since the plasma membranes is more permeable to potassium ions than the sodium ions, there are always more positive ions outside the membrane, which cause some polarity. The large negatively charged proteins in the cytoplasm of the axon also contribute to the resting potential of -70 millivolts. The third part of my talk is propagation of action potentials. If an axon is non-myelinate, an action potential will stimulate an adjacent axonal membrane to produce an action potential. In myelinated axon, the action potential is at 1 node of Ranvier causes an action potential at the next node. The myelinate sheets has neurofibril nodes, gaps where one neurolemocyte ends and the next begin. The action potential leaps from one another. This is called saltatory conduction. Saltatory conduction may reach rates to over 200 meter per second compared to 1 meter per second without it. As each impulse passes, the membrane undergoes a short refractory period before it can open the sodium gates again. Action potential cannot move backwards, ensuring a one-way direction of the nerve impulse. That's all from me. Thank you. I hope you have a good day.